Good morning, Crowfall.
Howdy, everybody.
Crowfall fans and other people who randomly accidentally clicked on this link. I am J. Todd Coleman, creative director of Crowfall.
And I'm Thomas Blair, lead designer of Crowfall.
And as every month, we are here to answer your questions from the community about our game. We call it ACE Q&A, Art Craft Entertainment Q&A.
And it's for August.
For August. I think next month, new card.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right, question number 1.
When we destroy walls, will the falling bricks damage characters they hit? What are your actual plans regarding this scenario?
Yes is the answer. The falling bricks will, in fact, damage people that they land on. We just don't have that working now, but it actually doesn't seem like it should be that hard. So it's just a thing we haven't gotten to.
I haven't seen a lot of it, though, actually, in Siege Perilous.
A lot of
people actually in there when the walls collapse.
Yeah, I more commonly see people on top of the walls when the walls collapse. And that does do damage because you have gravity, you take falling damage.
And they get shot. Usually they get hit by a fireball and then they just go flying.
And gravity damage is pretty brutal right now. So the short answer is yes. We just haven't gotten to it yet. We do want to have things that collapse on people. This is John O'Neill's favorite thing. Remember, hitting a castle wall and having it topple down on that player.
So the idea of coming around a corner, finding another player, shooting a fireball, hitting a wall, blowing that up, and having that fall down on that player was just an awesome, awesome idea.
I remember that moment.
Yep.
All right, next question.
Okay.
As we now know, strongholds will come in single wall parts, and some point in the future, complete strongholds won't be sold anymore. Will there be some kind of blueprint template system later in the game which strongholds can easily be built from if you own all the necessary parts?
So after launch, maybe. I honestly, it's not that hard, right? We're not building things brick by brick like Minecraft. It's a giant wall segment or a big siege tower. You can snap those pieces together pretty easily. So, I mean, Gordon keeps asking for this.
Sure.
He's like, well, we need to sell blueprints. I think we should get to it eventually, but it's by no means necessary for launch.
I might find it useful because I'm terrible at building structures.
But again, it's just not that hard. Like, here's the gate. Here's a wall segment. Here's a tower. All right, I'm pretty much done. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
When you have smaller stuff like props and things like that, and you really want to make it look good, I can see a template system.
Yeah. Well, we're starting at the macro level, so we aren't doing a lot of decorations and props right now. We're doing the big ticket items you care about. Like, here's a siege tower that you can put a ballista on.
So make a square, put a tower, put a ballista on.
Yeah, and then put your buildings inside. And the ones you don't care about, put those outside. The other thing that you guys that we probably need to update you on is since we talked about this at the live stream, we got a lot of feedback that people really wanted more buildings that they could go into, more buildings with interiors.
Right.
So we've adjusted the scale of our buildings to make that easier to happen. There are still some buildings that are small that don't have interiors. What we've done with those is we've converted them to pavilions and tents, so that they don't technically have interiors, but they still have full access. You can just kind of go in and out. And then the buildings are now, the minimum footprint of a building is large enough that you can get into it and move around. So
how many lots is that?
4 by 3, I believe.
Okay. And a lot is?
4 meters by 4 meters.
There you go. So there's your dimensions.
There you go. So one thing we have also noticed, I'll point this out, is scale makes no sense relative to real world scale. Like in order to have a room feel not like a closet, it has to be enormous. Like a 4 meter by 4 meter room in the game, you get into it and you're like, ooh, this is kind of cramped. In actual real life, you'd be like, oh, this is a giant room. Just the difference when you're
how fast does a Crowfall character generally move?
6 meters per second.
Very good.
Except for the centaur.
Todd passed all of the questions.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right, let's just wrap it up here. Let's end on a good note.
Okay. What happens when a vessel dies? Where does the crow appear? And what does the crow have to do to get back to action with the vessel?
Okay. So this is one that's still in flux.
Sure.
We should say that as we're playing around with it some, and if we don't like it, then it's subject to change. So there's my big fat caveat on our answer.
On everything, but yeah.
Yeah, but give the answer as it is right now. So
you would fall. The crow goes to the nearest graveyard, and you can either pray, we call it the mystical tow truck, to bring that body back to you. Everything takes a huge decay hit.
Right.
Or you can just be crow and fly back to the body and get back in it.
Right. If it's still there.
If it's still there and hasn't been looted clean, picked clean by everyone else, based on the band that you're in. Not all bands will be like that.
Right.
And is there a third way?
Yeah, you could instantiate a new vessel
Absolutely.
right there at the graveyard. So one thing you didn't say is with the prayer, that's going to take a lot of time. It's not like an instantaneous, hey, just give me my corpse back.
Right.
In fact, of all the options, that will be the least popular option. Anything that is left on your corpse, if anything is left at all, right, which depends on the looting rules of the world, is going to be heavily decayed, and it's going to take a long time.
Right.
So that's basically we put that in as a fallback of, okay, well, what if I died in a place where I simply can't get back to at all, and I don't have another option. All right, well, all I can do now is instantiate a new corpse, or a new vessel. If I don't have a good one, that may be a pretty crappy option too.
It's option 3.
The design intent is to make it option 3. So
option 1 is run back as a crow.
Right.
Option 2 is to grab a new vessel at that graveyard and run back out there. And option 3 is we call it the mystical tow truck. Summon it back.
Yeah, you pray to the gods and it summons it back. And I'll be honest on that one, we'll probably do it last, and we'll see if we even need it. We may not do it, but it is an idea that is currently on the table.
It's always also a good fall through in case things like falling through the world bodies and all of those random bugs.
That's true. That's a good point.
Your body fell into a tree, and for whatever reason,
that never happens in MMOs. Yeah, so defensive design. Sometimes you even though you hope that stuff never happens, you kind of always err on the side of just in case.
Yeah, just in case. All right. Have you thought any more on changing the embargo system to allow for multiple exports or imports throughout longer campaign worlds? I, for one, would like to see limited embargo imports into the Dregs/Shadow after, say, 1 month of play, and then limited embargo exports as well.
Yeah, so actually I'm open on this one. This is kind of a cool idea, which is if we feel like it's just too long to go through an entire campaign before you have a chance to either import anything in or export anything out, and obviously how much you could do that depends on world band, then that certainly is an option, is to have windows, right?
Yep.
Like maybe at every season break, we allow you to do some limited form of import and export or something like that. Or we could even potentially use it as a handicapping system where, well, if you're on the losing team, we let you bring in a little bit more because we want to keep the fights interesting and fun up till the end.
Yeah, we've been talking about this one for almost a year now.
Yeah, totally. Actually, I remember used to talk about this.
Right.
So it's definitely something that we've considered. We're open to it. It's easy to do. I mean, we'll have the mechanisms, so it's just a question of once we get in and we actually play some campaigns, I think it'll be apparent pretty early on, hey, this is something that would be helpful, or hey, we don't need it.
Nothing brings to light the design decisions such as when you first start building it.
Right, exactly.
The second you start building it, you're like, this is not going to work, or this is going to work.
Yeah.
So we'll adjust as soon as we actually start building that.
Yep. All right, next question.
Next question. Points of interest. Are these up for grabs 24/7? Can they be captured at any time and generate resources for the owner as long as they're owned? If I own a mine for 12 hours and it generates 12 units of ore, but I don't transport them out and someone else captures the mine, are those 12 units waiting for me?
That's all. Okay, that's all way too complicated.
Yeah.
Actually, the short answer is sort of, but it's not. There's not an artificial system for it. There's no capturing of the POIs.
I think the capturing is the big
That's the
thing.
difference. With strongholds like cities and castles and stuff like that, yes, you have to capture them. With mines, it's just a spawner that generates resource in large amounts, right? And so whoever shows up can take it.
Right.
That's it. If you capture it by sitting on it, waiting till it pops, and then grabbing the stuff out of it and taking it home. So
it's more active. It's not generating resources for you.
Absolutely.
You don't own it.
It's generating resources for whoever shows up to some max amount. Whoever shows up and grabs it, it's theirs.
Yeah, if you've been sitting there waiting and someone else comes in and grabs it,
you kill them or die.
Right.
That's basically. So these are really these are just more like mass spawners, mass resource spawners that are providing a contextual reason for you to go out into the world. It's much more simple. I mean, it's just they're there. Go take it.
Yep.
So.
All right.
All right, I think that's it for this month.
Yeah, that's it for August.
So we got Gamescom around the corner. I'm about to fly out for that. That'll be a lot of fun. So a few of you, maybe I'll see you there. Should be pretty cool. And for the rest of the team and the rest of you guys, we will come back and see you again next month. Get your questions in now so we have some stuff to answer.
Yep.
And
see you in September.
There you go. See you in September. Thanks, guys.